a religion which inspires enthusiasm in one and all, and it brings the blush of life to the cheeks of withered, old, frozen crones and gaffers of 90 and beyond, as well as everyone else, as it should. The whole idea of the whole thing is that J.R. Bob Dobbs, and everyone knows who that is, gives you slack. Slack. And now you want me to recount Bob instead of talk about the wonders of the effulgence of slack. Well, ye of little faith. After all, Bob is simply the stepping stone, the way through to the mana, the inner knowledge, the deeper things of Bob. Well, it's very simple. Of course, there's the $30 donation, which is sent to our world headquarters in Dallas, Texas. But aside from this, and then come back and buy from them a false version of slack, unlike the true slack that is brought to you by the bulbous, red-eyed Church of J.R. Bob Dobbs and the Church of the Subgenius, the sepulcher of the eternal word. Now, it may be an eternal word, but there's one thing that we're running out of, and that is time. Because our church, like many before it, has built into it a sort of explosive moment that we are counting down to. Considerably before the millennium, which some have entertained ideas might mark closure, is X Day. X Day, July 5th, 1998. Not far, eh? Perhaps some of you stood in line to watch that movie, what was it called? Independence Day, the America's '1 movie, and so forth. The whole movie is the conspiracy version of what's actually going to happen on July 5th, 1998. In the movie, our brave boys win against the alien saucers. In the movie, their giant saucers open up to disgorge streams of inept saucers which are no match for our brave boys and their jets. But this is the typical sort of picture the conspiracy confuses you with. The President of the United States, a jut-jawed fighter pilot, gets in the plane himself and he goes to fight the evil, loathsome aliens. Well, aside from any questions of xenophobia and speciesism and earth chauvinism and all that sort of thing, this simply rings false, as it should, because only subgeniuses will be spirited away. Now you might want to ask, what are these pleasure saucers of the sex goddesses actually like?
What are they like?
Well, any concrete answer, you understand, would be still a symbolic or metaphoric picture.
Warm and fuzzy?
Any doctrine, any story in a religion, if you like your Bible story or whatever, is a poetic picture. Even Jesus Christ himself said at one particular time, don't you idiots understand I'm talking in parables, and that's because that's the only way you knuckle brains can understand half the stuff I'm trying to tell you. No, it's in the old book. So I have to use metaphoric language to describe the abysses of bliss available on the pleasure saucers. The Reverend Ivan Stang has previously said that it, in his own hyperbolic way, it makes our bliss, the bliss of orgasm, seem like torture by comparison. So just imagine, as you will, frenziedly copulating with these aliens. I'm afraid you have no choice. This will happen. It's all connected by chemicals and stimuli, as it is anyway, even when humans mate, but these aliens have really got the handle on it, and though it might seem similar to having coitus with a cross between a lawnmower, a squid, a can of Drano, and the mold growing on your shower curtain, you will like it, because they are in real control, and what they do to you up there in the air is nothing compared to what they are doing to the squealing, squirming pinks on the ground below. There will be a weeping and gnashing of mandibles that day. For among these insects who dare question the subgeniuses, us, and denigrate our world ministry. Now we have, in addition to bingo, which I have to deplore a little bit because it is worldly, and you know, the church has always allowed small improprieties, shuffling of feet, farts, or whatever, because in the larger picture, we can hold true if we allow the little peccadillos. Now, I also want to say our ministry is an active ministry. J.R. Bob Dobbs was a salesman. They called him the Saint of Sales. He went from door to door in the 1940s, and one night he was tinkering around with an experimental television of his own design, fooling around with the back of the set, when he received a divine immaculation. That is to say, a divine immaculation. Oh well, it was big at the time. Believe me, it was big at the time. Because what he heard speaking to him on this occasion was the voice of Jehovah One itself. Yeah, cosmic space god, now grown senile with his masterminding of the machinery of the eons, but still a formidable force in this universe. You've read about him. He built the cosmos and set the stars, the sons of morning in the sky where they first sang. It's a pity there was no air to carry the sound waves. But this all happened at the morning of the world, millions and millions of years ago. Pour enough time into the equation and anything can happen. These Po Bucker hillbilly creationists just don't realize that if you gave it enough time, winds blowing through junkyards would completely assemble a working model of 747 aircraft and have it fueled and ready to take off too. Human minds can't conceive of these huge lengths and abysses of geological time. By the way, how long have I been speaking? Has anybody been
geological time. Keep going.
Perhaps I should simplify and speak, as I say, in a parable.
Obfuscate.
No, I could tell you the story, for example, of tiny Saint Michael the Urchin, who, no, perhaps I better not tell that one in California.
Yeah, no, not that one, no.
Let me just check through the Akashic records here.
Masticate.
Or perhaps I could give you an example of time control, very important in our religion. Then after that, we'll have a recess. That doesn't mean you run around and laugh and so on. It means that we stop briefly. And then I'm going to take telephone calls from the dead, or as some prefer to call them, our viewing audience.
I get it.
I'm not talking about you guys here. I would never say anything insulting. And while I'm at it, perhaps it's time to put in a plug for our radio program. You must listen every week as we broadcast on the Puzzling Evidence show at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. on Friday mornings. This is the time when our demographic studies have shown a true subgenius is at the peak of his or her activity cycle. And the programs reflect this vital interaction with the public. So, time control, a very simple matter, wouldn't you say? But it is best illustrated by a blousy anecdote told in smoke-filled back rooms by swaggering, cigar-chewing gentlemen of leisure. I shall clean up some of the more salacious details, which are perhaps unsuited for general audiences. But, now stop me if you've heard this one before. A guy comes into a bar, see? Oh, it starts in a bar. The fellow comes into a bar, and he is waxing Roth. No, I'm sorry, he's waxing sad. I was momentarily thinking of Ed Big Daddy Roth for some reason. He was waxing sad because he felt he'd professionally come to the end of his rope. And you may be laughing, but this is one of the most devastating things that can ever happen to a person, to feel that he's suddenly, in the middle of life, expended all usefulness and is sort of a lump, taking up good space and breathing other people's good air. So often, people like this retire to bars, and this person did, and he bitched and complained to the bartender, who is like a confessor, a warm, familiar, saintly presence. So he complained that his job was over because he had run out of every way to do what he did, which was to write stories for women's magazines. He was known as the unwed mother because that's what he always did. He wrote stories from the point of view of the unwed mother, and for some reason this always worked, and he had worked this idea down to the bone and now was through. And the worst part, he confided to the bartender, was the reason he was so good at doing this unwed mother stuff was that he had been an unwed mother. Yes, he had had a sex change. It was all back there in the records. He had, while a young woman, been very homely and the wallflower on the cotillion floor of life, unable to participate and join in any of the reindeer games of the buxom youths and lasses and so forth and all that stuff. So what basically happened was she met a young guy who had a magnetic attraction, just swept her off her feet, and to be blunt, they went to a local park since they couldn't afford a hotel room, and there they copulated in a frenzied fashion. And immediately afterwards, the young swain disappeared and left our heroine enceinte, that is to say, with child. And pretty soon, in the regulation 9 months, she was delivered of a child, a baby girl. Well, while she was drugged and doped with the strange stuff they give you in the hospital, someone stole the child. The child was kidnapped. She never saw it again. Furthermore, it was a very difficult birth. They had to cut her open. I'm sorry about all these details. And when they did, they discovered a second set of sexual organs. And they ruined all her female stuff, so they thought, we have this male stuff left over. Oh well, what the hell, let's make him a man. Besides, she hasn't got enough milk to keep a chicken alive. And perhaps it was best that the child was stolen. So, all that was left of this man, a former woman, was to write the stories, as I say, from the unmarried mother angle, the sob sister circuit for the ladies' magazines. But the bartender said, there's no reason to feel sorry. And he walked over and he turned around the sign that said open to say closed. And he said, just step past me, step behind the bar and stand on this oddly greenish glowing grid. You see, this bartender, now I'm getting back to our subject of time control, was one of the time patrol who zooms through the eras, correcting the minor injustices and the kickshaws of time. They perform a valued service for the continuum and are always recruiting. And they recruit best people who are cut off from life by their situation, you know, and can't participate in normal things because of their weird upbringings, like this guy. I'm really going to try to make this story shorter. Who, he was the unwed mother, formerly a female. So our agent of the Time Patrol, the jolly bartender, zipped him back into time to a fragrant night where he rushed off to a park to have a dazzling rendezvous with a certain homely but strangely appealing young lady. That is to say, him, before he became, or she became he. And so there they were, they copulated frenziedly, not for the second time, for the same time. And the miracle of conception took place. And then he swaggered back to the time machine, and do I even really need to tell it from here on? He zipped 9 months ahead, and in the hospital, nobody cared that he ripped this little kid out of its incubator, and then, on the glowing grid of the time machine, took it back and put it in the foundling home, which had been his only recollection from childhood. And so he put the baby, which was him, in the orphanage, you know, having stolen it from his mother, which was also him, and, you know, he had the right, because he was his own father, also. So they zipped back to the 20th century, to the bar, not that they had to open it or anything, but now our friend was really cut off from his time, even more than before when he was the strangely looped unwed mother. Now the chronic loop was complete and closed. He was virtually snipped away from his own time continuum. And so, to make a long story short, he joined the Time Academy. He did well and received promotions. He went on ahead to a wonderful career and eventually was posted as a bartender in a small city bar where one day a man, who was also him, came in and complained about the unwed mother racket that he had to. You know, this guy was not only his own father, sister, brother, son, daughter, everything else. He was also his own bartender, and he told him this wonderful story and cheered him when his hopes were low. Well, now, do we take a break here, or do we go on to the telephone call portion?
When are we getting the donuts?
Oh, well, they aren't donuts, but I will pass out the sacerdotal wafers and accept you all into the body of Bob, so to speak. But of course, you still have to. I mean, you still have to make a gesture toward us, you know. Yeah, praise Bob, and send in your $30 so you won't be charred to a cinder on X Day. I didn't even tell you wonderful. You've got to buy our book, the Revelation X, the Bob Apocryphon. It's in stores. Simon & Schuster. They're screwing us over, but you can buy it. And also, come up to the front of the thing, and you can buy beautiful little Bob pins like this. And when you tap them, nothing happens. Not like on Star Trek, where you can talk to the mothership. But someday, this function will be incorporated. Also, we have the Bob magnet. Just slap one on your computer if you're tired of it all. Or if you want to put it in a simple place, put it on the refrigerator with the kids' adorable drawings of grandma and whatnot. And pretty soon, the kids won't want to put anything there. I guarantee it. And they do hold newspaper articles about horrible crimes and stuff like that. That's what we have on our refrigerator. So, it's a recess time. And take it away. Here is the device itself. A small bit of rubber. Oh, well, I hope you have another one. Yes, you carry 12 to a pack in your pocket. They will be vended before X Day in restroom service stations. Even Rover goes for, look at him go for that down-home healthy rubber. Yeah. So, as an adjunct to dog obedience training, you don't want to put one in that's some old dog is slobbered all over, do you? You want to get a nice clean one and be sanitary like. You know, you don't want an old, oh, he could swallow that. It damages ear passage. You never hear his merry bark.
Damn it, the wonder dog also knows where her third nostril is, ladies and gentlemen.
Ew.
All right, put it in. And don't let that dog,
Ew.
Get back.
we might have to call a paramedic if this display just goes, yes. You have to know how to do this, you know, while in the spaceship itself.
While it's
sure, I
moving?
want to watch this. It's graphically clinical and well, it takes a little bit of practice. You know, like many things, it needs to get used to. But you're going to have to learn to do this, perhaps even with one hand and in the dark. As you insert it in the nostril, moving toward the frontal rostrum of the sinus symphysis. And then you have the inflated, you squeeze the bulb, causing a grotesque aneurysm in some individuals.
Don't do it.
He's done it already. That mass of air has moved inside, and if this thin rubber coating pops, it might rush instantly to his heart and end his career on the stage for all time. So let us hope your good wishes are needed, ladies and gentlemen, for the purposes of this demonstration. And this is a sinfully skillful, snotty journey through the passage of the skull and its secret rooms, its hidden chambers. Oh, yes. Now, note, just like to Charlie Crumb, except by a shorter route, you have a well-rounded dawning of the third nostril orifice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Chicken John, look at it go. Yes, now you can hang this on your Christmas tree for a charming ornament to please the kitties. Bud and Sis will want one too, and of course, oh, somebody broke something. Well, mazel tov. It's good luck. It's good luck when they break something. So what's on the program now? Is it the puppet show or the, communion wafers? That's right. I'm going to ask each and every one of you to participate in the communication of communion, the wonder of food. Now come on up, and I will lay a wafer on your tongue.
What?
And you can absorb the body of Bob in its gluten and sugar, nature's perfect food, into your own coiling innards. Any takers? It has been said that the Church of the Subgenius is a vanilla church, but we have chocolate. Perhaps a slight genuflection rather than a kneeling would be healthier on those arthritic old organs. Now, without looking at which one I'm withdrawing, place it on your tongue and think bobbly thoughts. There you go. Now, pass along Vanilla Magilla and all of his friends. Oh, chocolate. Oh, there's one in every crowd, ladies and gentlemen, but we are an ecumenical organization. Chocolate it is. And another chocolatl, which the Aztec princes used to drink before they went out for their great fornication. The gift of the new world to the old, which, chocolate, there's a run on chocolate tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, they still come, which, vanilla, there we go, back to the pure, the blushful hippocrene. There we are. Chocolate again, and still they come. Well, here we are. The Great Danger Ranger is here. Vanilla, all right, vanilla, that's a good choice. I endorse this choice. Vanilla is good. There you are, my son. Walk in the light of Bob, not the darkness of ignorance. Oh, what's this? All right, step forward, any and all who wish to participate in the divine cleansing of vanilla or chocolate. I seem to know your mind, sir. There. One more, which shall be vanilla or chocolate? Chocolate. Next year, new strawberry and banana flavor. Vanilla, chocolate.
This is a back sheet. Is this a back?
Don't you want him to have a cookie? Oh, this is his special treat, a little piece of linoleum from the floor. Oh no, it adds roughage and build. There we are. Well, I think this officially brings the proceedings to a close of the 54th annual St. Sister Basilica of Regius Retreat, or whatever this is. It is a sacerdotal organization. As the voluntary is played, you may file with your attorney from the room. But you can stay and just enjoy the after-church social and lose this obsession with self in selfless work for your fellow beings, and you'll meet a man. So, that works both ways, ladies and gentlemen. Across the gulf which divides the sexes, there is a vast difference, as I know you know. So, mingle, and the church will wink one fond eye while it looks the other way, and see me about buying the trinkets and knickknacks. They're very handsome, and you will want one. They're ones your boyfriends will all want, and your girlfriends will secretly admire. So, I am available at any time for perusal of the contents of my special box. Until then, Bob bless you.